Hi guys, welcome back to another tutorial. I'm your tutor, Disha. Today we'll be looking at the respiratory system. But before venturing into the system, remember to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned. The respiratory system is made of cells such as cilia and basal cells, tissues such as the bronchiole, organs such as the lungs, all working together to achieve the main purpose of introducing oxygen into our body, expelling waste products such as carbon dioxide. Now let's do a little activity. We're going to be inhaling and exhaling. Let's go. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Wow, you have just done what constitutes basically the initiation and conclusion of respiration. Breathing starts when we inhale air into our mouth or nose, which then travels down to the back of our throats, into our trachea, then into our bronchioles. It then leaves the bronchioles and enters into the alveoli. Now the alveoli are tiny air sacs that are found in our lungs. The alveoli are surrounded by a network of capillaries which has numerous red blood cells. Reason: the oxygen in the air that we inhaled will diffuse across these walls and bind to the hemoglobin within the red blood cells to form oxyhemoglobin. Whenever the oxygen diffuses across the walls of the capillaries and binds to the red blood cells, it is then transported via the pulmonary vein to the heart to be pumped to other parts of the body that needs it. Exhalation, carbon dioxide leaves our body. Now the pulmonary artery carries carbon dioxide and other waste products to the lungs. Carbon dioxide diffuses across the walls of the alveoli and enter into our lung cavity, which is then exhaled out. Now we have discussed how oxygen enters the respiratory system and how carbon dioxide leaves the respiratory system, but let's go deeper into looking at how the cell uses this oxygen and releases this carbon dioxide in a process called cellular respiration. Stay tuned. Cellular respiration, as the name suggests, is respiration within our cells. It is basically the metabolic processes through which cells convert chemical energy from the oxygen molecules and sugars into adenosine triphosphate ATP and releases waste products such as carbon dioxide and water. There are two types of cellular respiration. There is aerobic, which occurs in the presence of oxygen, and anaerobic, which occurs without the presence of oxygen. Equation for aerobic respiration is glucose plus oxygen, leading to the production of carbon dioxide, water, and energy. This demonstrates that glucose is combined with oxygen and ADP to produce carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. The equation for anaerobic respiration is glucose, which leads to the production of lactic acid and energy. This demonstrates that glucose is broken down without any use of oxygen to release energy and produce lactic acids. There are four processes which constitutes the process of aerobic respiration. The first one is glycolysis. The first step in aerobic respiration is glycolysis, and it's break down glucose into a more reactive sugar called pyruvate. Molecules of glucose are broken down to produce 4 molecules of ATP, 2 3-carbon molecules of pyruvate, and 2 molecules of NADH. 4 ATP molecules are made here, but the net result is only 2 molecules of ATP, as glycolysis really uses 2 ATP during the first phase of the process to generate glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Diagram shows how glucose is being split into 2 pyruvate molecules. It starts with the input of energy, that is 2 ATP molecules. The energy to split glucose is provided from these 2 energy molecules, and as glycolysis goes on, energy is released, and the energy is used to make 4 ATP molecules. Now, as a result of this, there is a net gain of 2 ATP molecules during glycolysis. Now, during this stage, high energy molecules are also transferred to molecules of NAD+ to make 2 molecules of NADH, which is another energy carrying molecules, and it is used later on in stage 3 to make ATP. The next step in aerobic respiration is the acetyl coenzyme A step. Now, this occurs in the mitochondria, and acetyl coenzyme A is basically a molecule that participates in a metabolic reaction, and its main function is to deliver the acetyl group to the certic acid cycle or the Krebs cycle. The pyruvate made from glycolysis is converted to a 2-carbon acetyl group, which then combines with the coenzyme A to produce acetyl coenzyme. Now, from the diagram of the acetyl coenzyme A, we could see that it occurs in 3 steps. The first step is decarboxylation, which removes the carbon dioxide in the pyruvate molecules. The second step is the reduction of NAD+, and lastly, the attachment of the coenzyme A. The third step of aerobic respiration is called the Krebs cycle. This stage occurs in the mitochondria of cells. The acetyl coenzyme A combines with the 4-carbon oxaloacetate to form the 6-carbon sugar citrate. This citrate then undergoes several conversion steps to form the following compounds in order: citrate, ketoglutarate, succinyl coenzyme A, succinate, fumarate, malate, and lastly, oxaloacetate. Now, for one cycle, 2 molecules of carbon, 3 molecules of NADH, 1 molecule of FADH2, and 1 molecule of ATP are produced. Each glucose molecule produces 2 molecules of acetyl coenzyme A, enough for 2 cycles. The final step of aerobic respiration is the electron transport chain, and this occurs in the inner membrane of the mitochondria. This last step uses NADH and FADH2 that were created in the previous steps to generate 34 molecules of ATP. The electron transport chain pumps out the hydrogen from the NADH and FADH2 to the inner membrane of the mitochondria, making a proton gradient. Anaerobic respiration, on the other hand, occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell. It starts with glycolysis, where glucose is broken down into a more reactive sugar pyruvate. Without the presence of oxygen, the electron transport chain won't occur. Therefore, the usual number of ATP molecules cannot be created. Hence, the pyruvate sugars are turned into lactic acid in a process called fermentation. Aerobic respiration is economically important. Many of our foods are produced by microorganisms respiring anaerobically. Examples of this is in alcoholic fermentation, yeast fermentation, and cheese production. Anaerobic respiration also occurs in mammals. It occurs during high-intensity exercises when your body works so hard that there's a shortage of oxygen for energy consumption. Due to this shortage, your body breaks down glucose and phosphates stored in your muscles for energy, and the byproduct of this is lactic acid. Now let's reiterate the differences between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Now, aerobic respiration requires oxygen, while anaerobic respiration occurs without the presence of oxygen. Aerobic respiration occurs in the mitochondria of cells, while anaerobic respiration occurs in the cytoplasm of cells. Aerobic respiration produces 34 ADP molecule, while anaerobic respiration produces little or 2 ATP molecules. Now let's look at some diseases of our respiratory system. We can have inflammations such as asthma or bronchitis. We can have bacterial diseases such as tuberculosis and pneumonia. We can have genetic diseases such as cystic fibrosis, and we can also have carcinogenic diseases such as lung cancer. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. We have just completed another tutorial. Remember to visit us on Instagram at TheGeniusJA and like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Bye.